Om Shanti. Today Baba says, sweet children, gain victory over Ravan, the vices, with the power of yoga and celebrate the true Dasera. Now tomorrow is Dashera, and this is why Baba is teaching us today how to celebrate true Dashera. And Baba says, you want to gain victory over Ravan, and Ravan means the vices. You have to do it with the power of yoga. And in the Murli today, Baba says something very interesting. Baba says, you cannot kill Ravan by killing Ravan. You cannot kill Ravan by killing Ravan. So you cannot become viceless by hating the vices. Can you? I don't want to be angry. I don't like being greedy. I don't want to be lustful. I don't want to be egoistic. It doesn't stop you from being that. Yes, so now one thing we have to understand is the vices are the presence or the existence of vices is because of the lack of virtues. Yes, so why is there anger? Because there is no respect, there is no love, there is no acceptance, so there is anger. So it is the absence of virtues which is the cause of vices. So basically, vices do not exist on their own. And you cannot kill something that doesn't exist. So the existence of vices is because of the absence of virtues. So if the vices don't have an existence per se, they are because of the absence of virtues. So you cannot kill them because they do not exist on their own. So Baba says, just like you cannot pull out darkness without switching on the light, because the darkness doesn't exist on its own. Can you create darkness? There is nothing, darkness, there is no existence of darkness without reference to light. So Baba says, you cannot create a darkness bulb, can you? A bulb that makes everything dark. Can you create that? You can create a bulb that makes light, but you cannot create a bulb that creates darkness. That's the beauty. So Baba says, you cannot create darkness, you cannot kill darkness. Whatever you do with the light. Similarly, Baba says, you cannot kill Ravan by killing Ravan. That's not how it works. That's why you kill Ravan through the power of yoga that fills you with virtues. So when you become peaceful, when you become pure, you become virtuous, automatically Ravan goes away. So this is the thing that Baba says. Now, and Baba mentions the Mahabharat war today. And Baba says, for this whole Ravan Rajya to go away, there has to be Mahabharat war. So you cannot just, you want to win over Ravan through the power of yoga. It's not without giving a good fight that you can do that. Okay, you cannot just say, okay, today I want to be virtuous. Ravan will say, let me see how you will be virtuous today. So You have to give a good fight. Baba says there is no winning without a contest. So there will be a contest, and then there will be an internal war, and that too a very powerful one. And the war between virtues and vices is not a small one. And Baba says this Mahabharat war, and that war is a incognito war. It's not. So Baba says, of course, there will be this whole this whole scene where the five elements of matter will help you clean the stage for Satyug. But that's not what Baba is referring as Mahabharat war today. Baba says Mahabharat war is the internal war you will go through in order to vanquish, Ravan, and then you want to re-emerge the virtues through the power of yoga. There'll be a war. And then Baba says this war is also fought with weapons, but the weapons are a different kind. The weapons are, it is weapons of knowledge, not physical weapons that are needed for this, Baba says in the Murli. So you also need weapons. For every war, you need weapons. The intention of war is not enough. Yes, you go for war and you don't have any weapons, you get finished within a minute. So Baba says, you also need to fortify yourself with these weapons if you want to win the war. So just the intention that I want to be peaceful is not enough. Yes, you have to have the weapons of knowledge. And have you seen that in all these stories where we say that, Durga ji, she killed Mahishasur, or it's always about, killing. So Sri Ram killed Ravan, or it is about this fight or this battle between good and evil. And then each of these deities are depicted as having weapons. So always there are weapons that they are shown to have. And when you see the image of Durga sometimes they depict 8 hands, sometimes they depict 10 hands, and then in those hands, in each of the hands there's a weapon. And sometimes it's a trident, sometimes it's a sword, and in one hand there is a lotus, then in one hand there is a bowl of blood also sometimes, and then there is a conch, and there is a mace, gada. So all these things are there. So Baba says these things are always depicted, but we don't understand, will deities do this? So will deities carry a sword and a trident? And Baba says it's not about those weapons, but because body conscious people didn't know what else can they hold. So they showed these weapons because war was always physical after the Dwapar Yuga. So Baba says, you want to win this war over evil, over Ravan, you need to have weapons of knowledge. What are weapons of knowledge? Yes, so you think about it today. What are weapons of knowledge? So every point that Baba gives in the Murli is a weapon of knowledge. And if you apply it, you will be able to win over Ravan. Now you see, this whole war is happening inside. Yes? And how does Ravan strike the arrow? Through a thought. So it's always the arrow of a thought. So you are, let's take a scene. So you are standing with someone, talking to someone, and that someone says, these days I feel that you are withdrawing, you are not communicating too much, or you are not, you didn't go to the party with us last night. So are you in depression? Okay, are you going through something? So let's say this conversation happened, and then this is the arrow Ravan struck. Okay, now what do you do with that? So have you seen in those mythological serials, they show that, Ravan strikes an arrow and then Ram strikes an arrow, and somewhere in the middle they meet each other and then one blows away the other. So this kind of thing keeps happening continuously. Now when that person said this, you also will create one arrow. You also create an arrow of thought, and usually the arrow of thought that you create is, how can he talk to me like that? Or what makes him think that I'm going through something, and why doesn't he take care of himself rather than thinking about me? So that's a thought of self-defense. So you want to protect yourself by attacking the other person's behavior or questioning their authority or questioning them. But usually this will not lead to peace. Okay, so you will keep questioning and then they will also keep arguing. Now Baba has given us a weapon. What is that weapon? What is that weapon? What weapon will you use here? Who would like to share? So what is the weapon you can use in this situation? Tell me, Meherban, tell me. What is the weapon you would like to use in this situation? What is the point that Baba has given?
Peace.
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 Peace is the final product. You will have to also create a thought. What is that thought you will create? Yes, hi Anjani Ben, tell me.
Om Shanti, sister.
Om Shanti.
Sister, I think it is of the soul conscious state that at first I am a soul and the person opposite me is also Baba's child and is the soul. I am operating from my own karmas and sanskars, and he or she is operating from his own karmas and sanskars.
So they have their own sanskar. And when I came into Gyan, so my teacher in charge gave me a very good yukti for this. She told me everybody gives what they have. जिसके पास जो है वो देगा. And you can't stop them from giving what they have. So don't argue that. They don't have anything else, so they will give what they have. You can't stop them from doing that. And I have won many internal wars with this weapon. It's a very powerful weapon, I tell you, from experience. So Baba has given us so many weapons. Yes, so this is one weapon you can use in this situation. Another weapon you can use, Baba has given, they are a weak soul. Yes, so bad actions means this is a weak soul. A weak soul who doesn't have the capacity to discern right. So we need to have compassion for them instead of being judgmental. So there are so many weapons that Baba gives us. So Baba says that in every situation, so the setting of a war doesn't matter. Yes, the war can take place in any setting. So it could be the family setting, it could be the office setting, it could be the setting of the center, it can happen on any stage. But what's important is that you understand and realize it's the war which is going on inside. The war is inside. It's not about who is striking the arrow. It's not about where this war is taking place. It's about what the arrow is like and how you want to vanquish it, how you want to nullify its power. So anything that doesn't, that doesn't impact your mind cannot impact your life. So if you don't allow it to defeat you inside, it will not be able to defeat you in your life. So this is why this internal war needs weapons of knowledge. And Baba has given us the knowledge of the soul, the knowledge of our relationship with Baba, and the knowledge of karma, that it's my karma that will decide my destiny. And another big piece of knowledge is the knowledge of drama. It is what it is. What is the knowledge of drama? If you summarize the knowledge of drama in one sentence, the knowledge of drama is, it is neither good nor bad, it is what it is. So when you say good and bad, it's because you don't understand that it's predestined in the drama. So it doesn't need your label. It is just what it is. And it has to be dealt with. You don't need to put a label whether it's huge or small or gross or good or bad or right or wrong. You don't need to put these labels to it. It is just what it is, and it has to be dealt with the way it is. Okay, you don't have to put any qualification to it. So Baba has given us so many weapons, and the important thing is that you have the weapons, first thing, and second thing is you practice the weapons. You have to have the weapons, and then you have to practice the weapons. Now, how do you have the weapons? By listening to the Murli. This is why Baba gives us a Murli early in the morning, because this whole day is going to be a war with Ravan. So Baba says, fill your, that armory with weapons, proper good weapons, so that you can use them in this internal war all day. And then the second thing is practice them. If you have not practiced them enough, then even if you have the weapons, just like, I gave you a simple question, and then it took you time to come up with a thought. Now, do you understand that when you go for an exam, then it's not important whether you know the answer, but what's important is you know the answer, you come up with the answer quick. Because time is a very important factor. And in a war also, if you're not quick, you will be slayed. Yes, you have to be very quick. So you shouldn't even take fraction of a second. So if you take fraction of a second, that arrow will hit you. That's already hit you. You're already gone. So those emotions and feelings have come running, and now you're down. Now Baba says you have to be so in practice that you're very fast. You come up with this thought of combat very fast. So the when somebody is attacking you, the thought of how to not be attacked has to come very fast. Now that will happen when you have practiced it enough. And where do you practice? You practice in meditation. So when you do yoga, you practice, I am a soul, I am eternal, I am full of self-worth. Nobody can kill me, nobody can break my spirit, nobody can insult me. Yes? My respect is not based on anybody, so nobody can give me respect, nobody can take away respect. Nobody can praise me, nobody can defame me. I praise myself through my actions, I defame myself through my actions. Your actions define you, not another person's opinion. So if you have practiced this enough, who you are, what is your self-worth, and you have reinforced this very well, and then your relationship with Baba, that Baba loves me, I am the chosen one, and I am the one who is creating heaven on earth with Baba. So obviously, I know better than others. So if somebody questions what I know, Of course, they are coming from a different place of, human dictates. So our opinion will be different from each other, but they are not right because I'm learning from Baba. So you have to practice these things. Drama, you have to practice in yoga. If you have the weapons, but you have not practiced it, you will be, the Maya will kill you, and then you will be lying down and then repeating that I knew the answers, but I couldn't answer. So this is what happens, when we get attacked and we are in pain and sorrow, then we call up the center, and the brothers and sisters tell me that, Didi, I knew all along that I'm doing this, that I'm taking sorrow, giving sorrow, but I couldn't help myself. Why? Because there is no practice. So you have to keep filling yourself. So you have to keep, keeping your stock of weapons intact every day. And then second thing is practice them so that they are available to you in a split second. So being fast is very important. And then the third thing is the time of practice. So you don't practice when there is war. You practice before and after the war. Okay, this is why Baba says, at the close of the day and the beginning of the day, you do yoga. Yes? If you don't do Amrit Vela, if you don't meditate before sleep, then even if you want to be in good practice of your weapons, you will not be. So the time of practice also, we have to have sensibility about everything, because everything has to be done the right way. So there is a time of practice and we have to stick to that. So that also we have to take care. So this is about the war, and then Baba says, so after this Mahabharat war, then the Ravan Rajya will be over, and then we will go to Satyug. Now, in the scriptures, they say that Deepavali is a memorial of Sri Ram killing Ravan and going back to Ayodhya. Yes, they say that Deepavali is celebrated when Sri Ram came back to Ayodhya, when Ram Rajya came. And then on the day of Deepavali, you don't worship Sri Ram. You worship Sri Lakshmi Ganesh. So that's very beautiful, So if Deepavali is the memorial of the celebration of Ram's victory over Ravan, then you should be worshipping Sri Ram there. But you worship Sri Lakshmi instead. So Baba says, why? Because Deepavali is actually the beginning of Satyug. So when Sri Lakshmi Narayan sit on the Gaddi, that's Deepavali. And then Baba says that's why Lakshmi is worshipped, and you only come to Satyug, or Satyug arrives on earth when Ravan is vanquished by Ram, which is you win over vices through the power of yoga. So this is all symbolic, and they've put it together in this way, so it looks very incoherent in bhakti. So this is something. So Baba says the Gita, Mahabharata and Ramayana all have a connection if you look at it spiritually, because through the Gita, Baba equips you to win this Mahabharat war. And when you win this war, then Satyug arrives and it is Deepavali. So, and then today Baba says something very interesting. Baba says that God the purifier comes at the end. He says lust is the great enemy and you have to conquer it. Never be defeated by the vice of lust. It causes a lot of damage. Well-known people, ministers, etc. are defamed because of lust. So, the sanskar of lust makes you so blind that you can't even see what you're doing or what you are talking or how you're behaving, and then that gets you a bad name. So, people care about their reputation so much, and then when they are under the sway of lust, then they can't even think about their reputation. So Baba says lust makes you so blind. So be very, very wary of lust. And in connection to this, I will tell you something. So sometimes, so our sanskars create a spiritual blindness in us. Yes, and I have seen that if you don't take care of your karma, so if you don't take care of what you are thinking, what you're talking, how you're behaving all the time, if you don't pay attention, then slowly, gradually, it becomes a sanskar. And then you can't see that even if you want to. And then on a public platform, in front of many people, you will do as you are. And then that will put you into shame, but you can't help it after it's become a sanskar. Yes, so I saw this one brother and he was in Gyan, but he had this, he had this tendency to be very extravagant and spend, a lot on trivial things. So he had this spending problem. So always buying something, spending money, wasting money. And then he was we introduced him to a group somewhere, and he was sharing his experience, and then suddenly he started talking about things and about iPhone and about this and that, and he couldn't see that he was exhibiting that side of his which is very extravagant, and people started judging him that how can he be a tapasvi and how can he have this sanskar. So then that seva became a very big disservice. And of course, he lived in the family. He was not a center nivasi, but still, he was put on that platform to do seva. And it was not like he didn't intend to do it, but he had built that sanskar, and that sanskar manifested itself, and he couldn't even see that. So Baba says our sanskars make us so blind that we end up doing as we are, and then we lose everything that we have earned, our reputation, everything. So Baba says now that you are Raj Yogis and you are the ones who Baba is creating a new world order with. So you need to take care of your sanskars very well. Otherwise, lust will not only spoil your future income, but lust will also spoil your present reputation. And this lust is so subtle. It reflects in your vision, in your talking, in your drishti, everything. Lustful people cannot escape the eyes of the experienced. So Baba says don't bring defamation to Baba's yajna by not taking care of this sanskar of lust. So Baba says many people are spoiled because of lust, and you see what the world has come to because of this lust. If you see, the biggest acts of violence are because of this vice of lust. And Baba says this is why the father explains many young people who observe celibacy come to Baba. They never get married. There are also females who live like that. Nuns never indulge in vice, but they have no attainment by living like that. Here it is a matter of becoming pure and becoming the masters of heaven for birth after birth. Now what Baba is saying is, you have to be pure, that's important. But what you do with that purity is also very important. So let me give you an example. So there is this brother who shared his experience, and he said that they belong to a Jain family. So his sister from childhood, she knew that she wanted to be in that Jain sannyas group. So, she wanted to be a Jain sadhvi. So she tried to do that, when sadhus and sadhvis used to visit their home, she used to get close to those people, and then she would also try to be one of them, and she was on that path. But somehow this brother's mother, she didn't want that. So she just scared her away from those things. So, she told her false stories and this and that, and discouraged her from that path in the childhood. And then this girl, she said that, okay, I won't go and live in the jungle with them. That's fine. But I won't get married. I would stay celibate. Okay. Now, he says that, Didi, she stays celibate, and she doesn't indulge in vice. She doesn't want to get married. She's also into a job, but apart from the job, all she does is watches things on the internet. So he says that she goes to office at 8 in the morning, comes back at 6, and from 6 in the evening to 11 in the night, and from 6 in the morning to 8 in the evening, 8 in the morning, all she does is she's on the phone. And then her brother was saying she's becoming such a trouble for the family. Her celibacy has become a trouble for the family. Why? Because she's not an asset anymore. She's a liability. So you have to feed her, clothe her, do everything for her, endure her tantrums, and then she's getting all that kachra from the internet, and that's wreaking havoc with her mental thought process, and all that is manifesting in her behavior. So what Baba says is, you stay pure, but why? Purity is the foundation. But what is the karma that Baba teaches you? Baba says, you spend your life in remembrance and seva. If there is no remembrance of Baba, if there is no seva, then what will celibacy do to you? So Baba says celibacy is the foundation. Without celibacy, yad and seva is not possible. But Baba says only celibacy also doesn't mean anything. Again, there has to be remembrance and seva. That's why the foundation of celibacy is important. So Baba says if you only stay celibate, there is no attainment. So you must understand why that foundation is being given. And then let's take another example. This thing that Baba is talking about is very similar to, you get up early in the morning, but you don't know what to do with your morning. Okay, so suppose somebody gets up early in the morning and starts watching TV. And he says, I don't know what else to do, so I just watch TV. So will that waking up in the morning do good or do bad to him? So if he slept, that was better, right? So Baba says, you wake up in the morning, but Baba says, you wake up and remember me. Then that waking up is fruitful and it becomes the source of income. So it's how you do it, it's what you do, it's the foundation and what you grow on that foundation. Everything is important. Yes, and I also give that example many times. So there was this girl who came with some problem, and I said, you sit in silence and then respond. And I didn't tell her what to think in silence. And then she blew up everything in her mind while she was sitting in silence. She multiplied her negative thoughts, and then she gave a very big reaction. So Baba says, you sit in silence, but then what do you sow in that in that earth of silence is very important. You sit in silence and you keep thinking about how wrong the other person is, you'll become more reactive. So, so Baba says it's not just that karma that you sit in silence, be pure, but silence is the foundation, purity is the foundation, waking up early is the foundation, but then what you do with it is equally important. And if you don't pay attention to that, then you don't get any attainment. Okay, so this is something to be understood very well, because there are many people who will ask you these questions later on, that if I stay celibate, will I go to heaven? No. You just can't go to heaven by being celibate. You be celibate, remember Baba, do seva, use your time, thought, wealth, everything in a productive way according to Srimad, then you go to heaven. Okay, be clear about this. Om Shanti. Now we'll all offer bhog to Baba. Today is Navami, and also special, birthday and anniversary remembrances are also there. So all those children who have offered bhog to Baba lovingly, we will take their remembrances to Baba. So have 2 minutes of patience. I'll connect you to the other room. Om Shanti.